One of the things which I'd love to talk about and hear your take on it is, what is a platform? Because a lot of the questions I get show that people don't understand what it is when you actually buy an investment. What is the platform that holds your investments, and what fees are you paying as a result
Okay,
of that?
cool. So first thing to say is a platform is just an online service that lets you buy investments, right? So if you go on to the most famous one for direct investors is Hargreaves Lansdown, but there's lots of others like Interactive Investor or AJ Bell or loads of other guys that you can use. And what they do is they take your money, they take your instruction to buy whatever investments it is. That might be a fund or a share or a cash product, whatever it is that you want to buy. And then they hold it for you. And I like to say platforms really do four things. They let you buy stuff, they let you hold it, they tell you about it and give you information on how it's doing and all that stuff. And then when you're bored of it, they'll sell it for you again. And then we just go around. What's clever about platforms is they generally offer you thousands upon thousands of things that you can buy. And so if, for example, you have a very strong desire to buy Guatemalan yak futures or a Colombian select pharmaceutical arrangement or whatever, and you find it, there's a good chance you'll find a platform that will do that for you. Whereas if you popped into your bank and said, "Hi, can I have this, please?" they'd just look at you like you come in from a different planet, right? So the fees that you pay cover you for buying investments. Generally, some of them have trading fees as well. But for mainstream stuff, most of them will cover you for buying your fund, let's say. They'll hold that for you. They might hold it for you inside an ISA, an individual savings account, if you want one, or they might do it for you inside a pension if you want to have it inside a pension. They'll keep it safe for you. So it will be ring-fenced away from their own money so that there's no Rupert Murdoch nonsense going on.
So if they go bust, your money is protected?
If they go bust, your money is protected.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So that they're all heavily, heavily regulated in what they do. They don't give you advice for the most part. They won't tell you what to do, but a lot of them will put considerable time and effort into suggesting things that you might buy. There's a catch with some of that sometimes. And really, it becomes the sort of bucket into which you place investments. And it's quite a nice, easy way to do it. Along the way, some of them have tried to make themselves very simple and easy to use, which we applaud. Some of them have made themselves really, really complicated and very sophisticated, which is cool if you're a pointy head and you're into that stuff. If you're the kind of guy that's sitting with kind of 4 screens, with Bloomberg feeds and all that kind of stuff, there's platforms for that as well. And the trick, probably, if you're someone watching this and thinking about where might you invest, is trying to work out what kind of person you are, and that should drive the kind of choice that you would make.
Now, there are certain alarm bells, aren't there? So if you want to just think roughly what the cost will be of a platform, what's the kind of scale of cost?
Well, it varies depending on how much you have to invest. So there are some platforms, and I've mentioned one already, Interactive Investor, another one called the Share Centre, another one called Alliance Trust Savings, based up in Dundee. I don't know why I felt the need to mention Dundee, probably just because it's Scotland, not many other things to do with financial services in Dundee, but that's enough Dundee. They charge a flat fee, so it'll cost you between 100 and 150 quid, usually, to do the thing that you're doing, a little bit less maybe. And you'll get some trading allowed inside that as well. Now, that works brilliantly if you've got a bit more money. But if you're starting out, let's say, or you've got just 5 or 10 grand to put away or something like that, then paying 100 quid or 150 quid, that's quite a lot. There are plenty of other places that will do it on a percentage basis, and you would expect to pay anything from 0.25%, so a quarter of 1%, up to about 0.45%.
So if I have £10,000 and I'm paying 0.25%, that's £25 for every.
That's 25 quid, up to 45 quid a year.
Okay.
Massive difference. Now, at 10 grand, that difference isn't huge, right? It's a around in a pub. If you're lucky enough to have 100 grand, guess what? Arithmetic says it's 450 quid versus 250 quid. Now it's a couple of good meals out. And if you're really lucky and you've got a big pension that you've transferred in, maybe a SIP at £250,000 or something like that, well, I'm not even going to try and do those sums in my head. So it can make quite a big difference on that basis. So generally speaking, it's good practice to keep costs as low as you can. But it's by no means the case that the cheapest platform will always be the most suitable. Sorry, the kind of guiding rule. This goes for life, right? This isn't just finance and do this one for free. Something that is cheap and unsuitable is still unsuitable, and something that is expensive and unsuitable is still unsuitable.
Now, certain platforms also charge you to put your money into the fund, so you've got an entry fee, and they charge you an exit fee if you take your money out. Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, depends on the platforms. So a lot of them don't charge you on the way in. There are a couple that will charge you trading fees for daring to put some money into a new investment, and that's okay, I guess. You know, when platforms do that, they're being sort of socialist, right? They're saying if you use the service, then you pay for the service, and that's sort of, you know, they're all pretty red in tooth and claw. These guys, they do know how to turn a profit, but the activity-based costing is sort of all right. What I think is unconscionable is fees on the way out. If you need to move your money somewhere else, because that platform is no longer suitable for you, whatever else, I think it's terrible that platforms take a slice of you on the way out. Not all of them do. So, for example, Hargreaves Lansdown does take a slice on the way out, but Fidelity, Personal Investing, another very big shop, doesn't. You're free to go at any time. And we've tried to put pressure on some of the guys who have exit fees. With some people have responded a little bit, and they have come down over time. Not just us; lots of people have done that. Some of them, especially very large ones based out of Bristol, which, if you're not in the industry, that's Hargreaves Lansdown. By the way, that's what passes for jokes. What we do. They basically just told us to go and do one, and they've still got their exit fees in place. The worst offenders for this stuff aren't the platforms. The worst offenders are the big kind of advisor organizations. So we get into guys like St James's Place and people like that, where they have very, very big exit fees. And that's a world of hurt over there. I don't think it's our subject today, but that, those guys really, really do know that they gouge you on the way out.
But you have a manager which has a double barrel name, so it's okay to charge you a lot.
It's outstanding, right? And a really nice wristwatch. And he plays golf, and it must be nice for him to be that affluent. So feel great for him.
The best excuse I've heard from one of my clients, was, don't worry about this 3% charge, because the daily volatility on your stocks could be 3%.
Yeah. That is an outstanding argument. And the fact that the 3% could be negative, so it's 6%, that he's just had out of you, is neither here nor there. For one of these organizations, and I won't say who it was, I saw a quote, an illustration, which they have to give you if you're going to invest. And tucked away on page like 468, hidden in invisible ink somewhere, that's not true. It was actually easy to see if you know what you're looking for. They have a figure called a reduction in yield, which is gobbledygook. But what it means is they show you a set growth rate of what the investment is expected to do. And it's bollocks, right? It will never, that's the one figure it will never produce. But nobody knows the future. So, okay, you got to pick something. And they picked 4.6% or rate, right? So, okay. Then they showed what the effect would be in terms of the costs they took. And their costs each year were 2.5%. What I'm doing is I'm doing taking away in my head, and 4.6 minus 2.5 is 2.1, I'm pretty sure. So they get more than you do. Awesome, right? We're all in the wrong game.
Your lunch, is that okay? That's pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you got a kind of well played fella, I mean, you'd be nuts to accept a structure where they are guaranteed to do better than you are. That seems crazy to me.